Finally today, I'd like to play a melody here by one of our most famous composers of all time, Johann Sebastian Bach. Bach, okay? This is I'm sure you've heard this melody before, and it sounds great on the oboe. We're going to try to incorporate some of the things that we learned today. You'll see some eighth rests in here, some accents, a repeat sign, and this one's a little bit different than before. This repeat sign goes back to the beginning when we get to it. And notice there's a bracket above the two bars right before the repeat sign with a little number 1. That's what we're going to play the first time. When we repeat and we come back and get to this bracket, skip over the brackets and go to ending number 2. So we have a first ending and a second ending. The second ending is written a little bit differently with different notes. But this is a way that composers and editors of music can write a longer piece in a shorter space by incorporating repeat signs and first and second endings. Here we go at 60 beats per minute. 1, 2, 3, 1, ready. All right. One thing that I want to sort of touch on here before we play this one again is that when you're holding a note out and you do have to release it, okay, when you end a note, we've talked about, making sure that you don't start the rest early by ending your note too early. You need to support and hold the air up all the way through the end of the note. And when you do release it, you don't want to let it just sort of drop dead on the floor, okay? We always have to imagine that we are sitting on a stage and that in front of us is a huge, I hope this doesn't make you nervous, but this is why we do this, okay? And after you've done it a few times, you'll want to do it every day, believe me. So you've got a big audience out in front of you, and we are playing for the person in the very back row of that audience so that they can hear everything that we do. And when we end a note, we want to push the note off the stage and all the way back to the back of the room. Now that doesn't mean to play the end of the note louder or anything. It just means that as you're supporting that, let it sail off into the distance rather than just cutting it off and letting it drop, okay? You have to imagine the note like a boat that you're pushing across the water, that kind of a thing, when you release it. All right, let's try that one more time, this time at a little bit quicker tempo here. We'll go with our 72 beat per minute tempo. And let's make sure that we're using lots of air on those accents and not as much tongue. Great. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 1, ready. All right, how did we do that time? That's a fun one, and your family will certainly recognize that tune when they hear it. And it's a good one worth practicing. Thank you, Johann Sebastian Bach.